I'd say I enjoy most about being an instructor is really the interaction with the number one, the class attendees, but also the other instructors. And what I mean by that is for the one class that I teach, the regulatory permitting class, what I do is I invite representatives from the other agencies. And so, we're talking about the Division of Water Resources, the Corps of Engineers, Department of Wildlife and Parks, the Historical Society, and the Kansas Department of Health and Environment. And so I get a representative from each one of those agencies to teach the class with me. So typically, I work with these people for my own projects. And they kind of have a habit of making my life a little bit more difficult. And so this class gives me an experience to work with these individuals and getting to know them on a little more personal level, which I enjoy because they're just people, and they're nice people. So it's fun to work with them.
It's great to be an instructor. I enjoy being with the maintenance employees especially, but the classes are diverse from basically 2 years experience to 45 or 42 years of experience. And the interaction that we have is great. And I believe that one of the keys is that we're able to make the class fun for those folks because they usually aren't used to sitting in a classroom.
It's a lot of things. I think obviously the interaction with people that are coming that want to learn. Also being able to share, I think, with other people allowed me to learn. I had a couple of great mentors as people that I worked for, and they were just really the super kind of trainer, I guess, because they would give me the information, let me go and do it, carry it out. If we made a mistake, we figured out how to fix it and used it as a learning experience. And so I think all those things that I guess I learned in trial by fire a lot of times, but I've been able to pass on those things, and it's been pretty rewarding. Maybe the most rewarding is when you have a student come into the workshop and you can tell maybe they were sent there. It's not something they wanted to do. And by the end of the day, you see maybe a light goes on and they gather something that, hey, maybe that is something that I can use. And so that's pretty rewarding.
Well, actually, I enjoy the most about traveling to the different places and seeing the different things. And I kind of act as like a liaison. I can pick up something from over here and bring it over here and share it with people and share the different practices and the different things that I find along the route. But I also enjoy just getting up and standing up and I got all the best of everything. I can stand up in front of everybody all day long and run my mouth or explain things to people and try out different things and answer the questions, get to meet them, get to see all these different places. And
I think what's always most important and impactful about being an instructor is the opportunity to help others learn. And I think especially with soft skill courses, I have a wonderful opportunity to learn more myself. So my classes aren't, and they will never be, pure lecture. I will teach key concepts and tools, and I expect my students to share their experiences and ideas. We all learn a lot more that way.
I like going places and meeting new guys, and I really like it the best when at the end of the class or during a break or somebody, they come up and says, man, I didn't think about doing it like that. So giving new ideas. I mean, that's what I think is the best part.
If you've ever done sales, you can probably understand why it is I like training better. I'm not a salesy kind of a guy, generally speaking. The way I sell is through consultative, selling, I guess, so to speak. I, try to help people get things done, and with the knowledge of being able to make repairs, that's kind of where I got started with all of this. But the traveling is good, and when I'm paying my own bills, Of course, I'm driving a lot, but man, when I get a training gig out there in Virginia or someplace, it's kind of fun to see how the rest of the country lives and meet people that live in other parts of the country, and meet welders that have to fix weird stuff that I never had to deal with. And that's what I really like is it's not so much the traveling, but the getting to see other places and meet people that live there. And I've been able to go to, because of TPC training, I've been able to go to, like I said, Virginia and Michigan and Seattle and Portland and Nashville. And when we get to spark up and do some welding as a part of the training, because sometimes you don't. Sometimes you go to a hotel and you have to do everything. It's a classroom situation for 2 days, and we don't get to spark up, and it's not quite as fun. But when we do get to, we have a lot of fun. It's serious business. It's dangerous what we do. Welding, you got to know what you're doing, but we cover all that in class and make sure everybody's safe. And then we go out and we try to have some fun. But I learn a lot from other maintenance welders, guys that take my class. They've fixed some stuff that I never seen before, and it's good to learn from them. But getting to see how other people live and meet people from all over the country, travel to exotic places like Emporia and Bismarck, and where else have I gone? Oh yeah, Salt Lake City. And I'm just being facetious. That's I mean, I never would have gone to Bismarck except that I get to do some training, and it's a fun place to go, and there's some great people there. And same with Emporia, and I just like to see how other people live.
I've only taught one in-person class before they've all gone virtual. So most people stay muted or cameras off. But with that being said, we've had some pretty fun dialogue in the chat box, answers to some of my questions. So I appreciate that. If anyone's watching this who's going to take one of my courses, hopefully it'll be in person. But engagement's really important. It's a lot more enjoyable when it can be lighthearted like that.
One of the funniest things was a number of years ago, as presenters, we used to maybe have some items that we'd like to provide to the class. And we had one of them was a little traffic cone used as a stress reliever. And one of the presenters was tossing that to one of the class participants, and he kind of underthrew them and hit a glass of iced tea, which dumped on the one of the attendees.
The best thing I can tell is the motivator operator that was blading this road, and he was going along, and he looked up ahead just kind of keeping his eye open, and he saw this gentleman running down this long lane towards the road, dragging this little child about 2 years old down the road, and he couldn't keep up with him. And hurry up! And so the guy finished blading his road up to this guy's driveway, and he opened the door and he stopped and he said, "Is something wrong?" And he said, "Well, no, not really." He said, "But my son here is 3 years old and he's never seen a motivator on this road before."
A year ago, just before the pandemic, I actually went to the Philippines to do some training and to do some analysis for the Philippine government about earthquake intervention. And obviously, I don't have a lot of experience with earthquakes, but you know, it's the same philosophy as if it was a tornado, how you're going to do whatever. So anyhow, we put together a training class, and you can imagine there may have been a little bit of a language barrier between myself and these Filipino students, although they spoke English, but it's still, you know, as it translates, sometimes it became a little awkward, and you were trying to hand symbol a lot of things to make it happen. And so one of the things that was really funny was we were talking about one of their issues was street sweeping and street cleanup. And I said, well, let's go. And actually we took a field trip, and I said, let's go and see it in action. And so we drive down the road, and you know, and as you see it in the United States, when people sweep the streets, they have a machine out there that goes down the road and sweeps the streets. There they had ladies out there with palm brooms sweeping the curb and gutter, and they'd put it in a 55-gallon trash can. And at the end of the day, somebody would come along and pick those trash cans up. So we were on opposite ends of the world of how we were going to approach a street sweeping operation.
I'm not really computer savage. I mean, I can dig a heck of a trench with a shovel, but when it comes to computers, I'm just kind of easing into it. You know, I've been easing into it a while. But when I first started, my wife went with me, and so she'd get the computer all set up and everything going. And so I'd been to a class earlier, a different class, and they had a place on there that they were showing. It was called Real People, and it was off the YouTube. So I thought, we'll play that while the class gets started. So I'm back there visiting with a guy, and the guy comes up and taps me on the shoulder, and he says, you might want to change the screen. And so I looked up, and here's a gal breastfeeding a kid on the screen. And so I went up there and tried to, change it, and it just got worse. And so now I have figured out how to shut it off and start over.
Oh, the funniest thing that's happened on one of my workshops would probably be one of my opening jokes. However, I think I'm the only one laughing. So I teach a class about permits, road and bridge permits. And trust me, there's nothing funny about that. Also, a lot of the attendees the class attendees are a little intimidated by this topic. So there's not a whole lot of funny business going on. So I really don't have a funny story for you on that. So sorry.
It may not be funny to most people, but when you know the story about it, it's what guys do when they're left alone a little bit too long. Mostly in workshops, we're given coupons. We make sure that we have plenty of coupons, and it's mostly flat bar steel, and we're welding them together, making lap joints or different types of joints and practicing welding. And really what I'm doing for a day or 2 days is I'm training them on 4 different processes, up to 4 different processes, MIG and TIG and flux core, with and without gas, and stick. And the guys have a whole bunch of scrap steel laying around. And this is a result of what over in the MIG booth, because MIG is the easiest one. Everybody usually knows how to do it. And this is what happens when guys are left to themselves. And I don't discourage it, because, they're welding. You see where they've made letters, they've made their initials on different things, and they're practicing joints, and they're out of position, and all the things that we need to practice doing. And this is what happens over in the MIG booth. You definitely don't see this happening on TIG, because TIG is too difficult. And a lot of these welds, just looking at them, have been done with stick, because they don't look near as pretty. But this is kind of what happens when you leave guys alone a little bit to be creative and do some stuff.